Hi, I'm Sonia and I help people take their power back. In this video, I want to talk about my experience as I started to realize that I am God of my reality, that I am in control of everything, that everything is a choice made by me. And this is something that has evolved over time and is something that somebody brought up and asked me, so that's why I'm making this video. If you've watched my past videos, I've talked about this before. I found manifestation in the beginning of 2018 when my life was a living hell. I owned a dog grooming business. I'd been grooming dogs for a long time, like 10 something years. Was it like 10 years? I don't know. Math. But I'd been grooming dogs for a long time. I ended up being part owner of a business, owning a salon. Things like hit the fan one day and I just broke down. And before I even stopped crying, I found a therapist and had an appointment to start therapy because I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. And it was from my therapist that she inadvertently, she didn't tell me like, you need to get into manifesting. Like I was going in there being like, I have no idea what I want. I have no idea. Like, do you want it? She's asking me, do you want to groom dogs? Do you not want to groom dogs? If you didn't groom dogs, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I have talked about that before. That was my biggest problem, was telling myself, I don't know. And every time I told myself that, it was always proven to me to be right. I don't know. Well, what about this? I don't know. Would I like that? I don't know. I don't know. So in my I don't know, my therapist was like, you need a vision board. And I had no idea what a vision board was or how it would help me or why I would want one. I had no idea. Zero. I had never heard of manifesting. I had no idea that my thoughts had any say over anything. I didn't think I had any control over anything at all anyway. I was a massive atheist, if you will. I was like, life sucks, here we are, you live, you die, the end. Like, that was my view of the world. I ended up, like I said, going to therapy, finding out about vision boards, and that was my start into the law of attraction and manifesting. And I can't remember exactly how it happened. I remember finding a video on YouTube while I was searching for stuff on vision boards that was like a part of an Oprah episode from like the early 2000s or late 90s, whenever, about The Secret, and had a bunch of the people who were in The Secret on there. I think at that point I watched The Secret. I don't even remember. Like, I just started trying to understand. I didn't understand what these people were fucking talking about. It seemed impossible and like this can't be real. Like, what? So I just started trying to understand, trying to learn, and something in me knew that this was the answers, that this would lead me to the answers I was looking for. Because even at my shittiest, for some fucking reason, I have always known there is a reason that I am here and I am meant to do something. And that is part of what got me into the I don't know, because I had this true feeling of I am here to change the fucking world. And because I couldn't articulate how that was going to happen or what that even meant, I turned to I don't know as my default. So I started learning about manifesting. From there, I had my breakdown, was in the grooming shop, didn't want to be there, was alone in a room all day grooming dogs, so I was listening to podcasts. And looking back, it's really fucking funny what I was listening to. I found a podcast on manifesting. I'm not going to title it. It doesn't matter what it was. That I got into listening to. That was how I ended up working with a coach for years after that. But the other thing I was listening to at that time was a lot of Kevin Smith podcasts, which looking back, it is so fucking funny that I would have been listening to that stuff, because on Smodcast especially, but on Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, they would talk about it too, but they're constantly talking about their experience. Kevin deciding he wants to get into movies, going to the film school in Vancouver, meeting Scott Mosier, the two of them going to New Jersey, writing Clerks, making Clerks, getting it into Sundance, selling it. That's fucking manifestation. They manifested that shit. At that point, Kevin Smith was kind of like, he was still in whatever religion he was in, I don't remember, but I think he's a Christian. I don't think he's a Catholic. Yeah, I don't know the difference, and I don't care, and you don't have to correct me, but he was still kind of in that. Now I don't think he's so much into that as much, but what he was talking about was the shit I was trying to understand. And I did not know that as I was listening to that, but I would listen to those podcasts because they were funny and they made me happy. And they were interesting. And plus, I was alone in a room like hours a day with dogs barking, and I needed something to just keep me sane. So I was listening to that, which I said is ironic that that's what I was listening to. Started listening to podcasts on manifesting, was reading books on manifesting, didn't understand. I did not fucking understand. And that was why in May? It was like the end of April, beginning of May of 2019, I decided to start working with a coach because I'm like, I have to understand. All of this, as I'm going through all of this, I started working with the coach. I never changed fully my mindset. I did start to change certain things about my mindset. I started to tell myself certain things. There was a lot of everything's possible, like hearing that, but then things that this person would say would contradict that. So then there was like me filtering through like what was true, what wasn't true. If you say this, then how can this? It was all because I was giving my power to somebody else trying to tell me how things worked. That is part of why I want to come on here and help people. I want to help the people who are at right now where I was, where they are looking for fucking answers and they cannot find them. Your thoughts create what you experience. As you start to play with that, everything else is going to start revealing itself to you. That is what I found on my journey. And what I wish that somebody would have told me back when I started therapy in 2018 was start focusing on now. You have no idea what's going to happen ever. You don't. Whether that's 1 second from now or 5 years from now, you have no idea. You cannot control it. In this moment, you can control what you are going to think about things and how you are going to react to things, which is going to have a ripple effect into your future. when it comes to the past, I really feel like there is a before I knew and then after I have known. Before I knew, when I look back at that stuff, I use revision. If things come up from my past that I don't like and don't make me happy, I revise it. I either tell myself that that's not true, that never happened, or I tell myself what I would have liked to have happened. I use, oh, that was a bad dream, but this is what was actually happening in my life. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something that is quote unquote true or something you're just making up. It doesn't know. It accepts all of it. As I went on my journey and I learned more and more, like I could not accept that I didn't understand it. So I kept, even though my coach was like, don't listen to anybody else, only listen to me, I didn't listen. And at that time, I didn't think I was listening to other people when I found, I don't even know if they're they're not spiritual. They're like, I don't know, the people who talk about like star seeds and light workers and that kind of stuff, and where it's like I get you and I resonate with you, but like I don't fucking care because this information doesn't help me change my life. Like it just doesn't. What I wanted was to be happy and change my life. And that shit did not help me. So I kept looking for answers, looking for answers, looking for answers, looking for answers. I also, before I ever got into manifesting, I had wanted to make more money. And I'm like, I can't make more money grooming dogs. So I want to have like a side business to make more money because money was a problem. And so I started studying like online business, social media, shit like that, like how to use it for business. And that like was always in the back of my head of, man, I really would like to work online, and like that kind of thing was in there as I started learning about manifesting. I don't even remember like why I'm bringing that up, but basically all of my experiences have helped show me, oh yeah, I know why I was going there. So for years I had wanted to get on, I wanted to have a message, basically, I think is what it was. And I got into that hoping to find it. At that point, I was going to get online and teach dog grooming. And I know I could make a fuck ton of money teaching dog grooming online. I just have zero desire to do it. I hate dog grooming and don't want anything to do with it. But because I started learning that, I did have this desire, like I said, for years to get on YouTube. I just didn't know what my message was. In 2021, I was so tired of my job. I quit grooming in the end of 2019. I started waiting tables in February of 2020. Spent 2020 into 2021 as a waitress. It was like the beginning of October of 2021. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't work here anymore. Like, I can't do this. And I really wanted to get on social media and start doing tarot readings. I had gotten into tarot. It was something I was really passionate about. So I one day just quit my job. And I posted like 2 videos on YouTube and deleted them because I'm like, I didn't have a laptop to like set it up, and it was a pain in the ass, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I ended up getting on TikTok, and that was when I found the law of assumption. And that was when I heard some things that stuck in my head, that really made me start questioning some of the stuff that my coach was telling me that I thought I understood. It's like, well, if that's true, then I'm going to apply it to this situation. And that's where I got manifestations like my dog's lump on her neck disappearing, if you've heard that story, or one of my coworkers getting fired because I was just like, yeah, she doesn't work here anymore in my head. I didn't understand at that point, like, it really is your thoughts until you prove to yourself over and over again that it's your thoughts. Now, this is when I was operating. I didn't know it was your thoughts. Nobody had fucking told me. My coach was talking about like stories and alignment and like all this bullshit. Just tell me what it is. It's your thoughts. That's when I found Sammy Ingram last year, and she's like, it's your thoughts. That it all fucking clicked. And as I started playing in my head and paying attention and choosing and being more intentional with what I'm doing up here, that is when things started to unravel and reveal themselves to me, and I started to understand. And that's when I got tired of shit, honestly. I'm like, I am fucking tired of telling myself I hate my life and everything sucks. So I'm just going to tell myself everything's perfect and I love my life. And as soon as I did, in my head, things got worse, because it was like, that you can't say that, and that's not true, and why would that ever happen? And I just decided I didn't give a fuck anymore. No, I love my life. I love my life. It's perfect. Everything's perfect. I always get what I want. No, you don't. That's not true. When does that ever happen? It's true fucking now, because I said so. Having that attitude with myself, that is how I started to understand and believe that I am in control of anything, that I can choose anything. That really became clear to me when I've talked about this before, but when I was working on my self-concept and looking at like, what's the version of me and what are the things I wish was different about myself, and realizing that I could just tell myself I'm perfect. Whatever thoughts come up, it's like, I'm not confident. No, I'm perfect. Well, this, no, I'm perfect. Meaning, I'm confident. I'm articulate. People understand me. I am the best version of myself. There's nothing to fix. I am perfect. When I started playing with that affirmation and I rejected all of the fucking bullshit that people were, like, not people, but old things were coming up in my head, that was when I really started to realize you can literally tell yourself whatever you want. There are no fucking rules. The rules are whatever you decide they are. The key is to keep reminding yourself, yep, nope, we're not doing that anymore. That's not true anymore. That's bullshit. I don't know who told you that. No. Think of it like this. I don't even know where we stand nowadays, but like when I was a kid, Pluto was the 9th planet. And then at some point, Pluto was no longer the 9th planet. But in my head, I'm like, there's 9 planets, because that's what I was taught as a fucking child. So I just accepted it as true. And then changing that thought, like, I don't do shit with planets, so it doesn't affect me and I don't really give a fuck. But just as an example, I have to remind myself Pluto's not a planet. I'm from the United States. As a child, you're taught, or at least they used to teach, I don't know what they teach now, but they used to teach that Christopher Columbus was like this really awesome guy who like we should be really grateful for and like should be celebrated. And then it turned out that that's not so true. Same kind of concept. Things change, everything changes. You have choice and control over everything in your internal world. As you change your internal world, your view of things, your experiences, the way you're going to show up is going to change because you are thinking something different. That is how this works. That is how I realized that I control everything, that I have a say in everything. It has been a journey and a process. And like I said, the reason I wanted to get on YouTube was to share this experience, to share my knowledge. I'm not a fucking expert. I don't know everything. I will tell you, I have learned so much about myself and all of this from getting on YouTube and making videos. It has been literally the best experience I have ever had, and I'm so glad that I chose to be a YouTuber. All of that being said, if you are doing your best in this moment to choose the thoughts you want, you are doing it right. You are on the right path. You are going to realize you have a say. You're going to realize how to do it. You're going to start seeing the results, and it's going to snowball effect. The only way that you can fail at this is to stop trying. That's the only way that you fail. Otherwise, you're doing it right. Thank you so much for watching. Love and light.